Hi guys, Fitter Everyday number 10 is all about wall ball. If we start with the basics, we can obviously regress the wall ball back through the thruster, the front squat, and right back to the air squat or bodyweight squat. So it's important to realise that if we've got any foundational flaws in that bodyweight squat, that's the place to begin when rectifying any issues with the wall ball. The footage that's currently playing on the screen is of Marie doing some good reps. So points to note here, from the ground up, we've got that shoulder width stance, toes slightly turned out, knees pushed apart to line up with toes. We're breaking parallel with the squat, working hard to keep the torso as upright as possible. We've got the hands under the ball and the elbows tucked in, and we've got a nice distance from the wall. The first mistake that I want to cover today is what I call the jackhammer. And what happens here is that the athlete starts to break at the hip into the squat or tries to enter the squat prematurely. So what we want the athlete to do is think of their body like a crumple zone in a car. We're absorbing the energy progressively, and then we're turning it around in the bottom for a rapid exit out of the squat. What happens here is that we've got that break at the hip and knee early, and then that energy from the ball is basically just jackhammering us into the ground, making the exit from the squat very hard to perform. The next mistake that I want to cover today is what I call the ball toss. And what happens here is that the athlete lets the ball move away from their chest as they go through the squat portion of the movement. So what happens is that the ball is moved all the way away from the center of mass of the athlete, and we're then using the arms to toss the ball, which violates the core to extremity nature of what's meant to be happening. And it's going to fatigue smaller muscle groups more rapidly, and it allows the weight of the ball to have a much greater negative influence on the position of the body. Next up, we've got segmented reps. And what happens here is that the athlete pretty much turns the wall ball into a front squat and a push press. So issues here are that we're missing out on the energy of the legs. We're not utilizing that momentum created coming out of the squat. It's much more focused on the arms. And it also makes it difficult on the way back down in that we're having to expend energy decelerating the ball in an instant rather than progressively decelerating it so that we can rapidly exit out of the bottom of that squat. Finally, we're going to cover proximity to the wall, so either too close or too far. So the footage first up here, the athlete, Marie, is too close to the wall. So what happens here is that it quite often hits the wall prematurely before it goes over the target, and the athlete has that feeling of the ball wanting to come back down on top of their head. So you can see there in the footage there's a couple of shots that are hitting the wall early, and we'll also quite often see that ball go straight up in the air and not hit the wall at all. We then move on to the athlete being too far away from the wall, and what happens here is that the ball has to move too far in the horizontal plane, which just basically means you're throwing the ball further than what you want to. And then when the ball returns to the athlete, it wants to return way out in front, which drags the athlete's torso forward, tipping them forward at the hip, and then creating a snowball of other mistakes that you don't want. I hope that today's video has helped you in some way. And as always, thanks for watching.